So, before we start, I want to do a small intro that you know a little bit the concept. I don't think everybody has a doubt who is Carrefour or what is Carrefour. The only thing that's interesting is we are in 37 countries and we have 200,000 employees. So, getting in EIM access and those kind of things, it's a challenge with us. More important is this, I think. We know that we are globally 30% is in the Google Cloud, and in Belgium we are 100% in the Google Cloud. We have 80 billion transactions in our Google data center. I think for the moment we are number 1 or 2 in the European Google data centers. So where are we coming from? Where are we going to? It's an essential thing. In the past we have shops, today we have multiple channels. Every store has their own infrastructure. Today we put everything in the cloud. So we bring everything centrally. In the past we did every day an update in the evening. Today everything has to be in real time. And the last topic is essentially security. In the past it was quite easily people, the only thing we have was theft in the stores. Today people want to try to steal our data, our loyalty points. People are to try our systems to mine bitcoins, whatever they do. They want to encrypt our data to get ransomware, whatever. What are we going to? What is changed? Everybody knows that typically castle, security within the castle. We had our walls. The problem is today our castle is empty. We put everything in the cloud. You just saw 100% in the cloud. Our caves are empty, no data centers anymore. Our people, they're at home. It's the end of VPN, so everybody, really, the castle is empty. Another topic that we have is everybody is bringing their own device. Everybody, we have the GDPR rule sets. Our network doesn't fit anymore within our buildings because it's 4G, 5G. So it was the end of that castle. It doesn't work anymore. We want to go to another solution called Zero Trust. From my perspective, Zero Trust, if we can do our effort on those 5 things, being identification, is it the right people at the right place? Have us the right access rights? Thus we are secure with any device he connects, that it's a trustful device, that we have a secure communication, no man in the middle, no ever, that our data is secure, let's encrypt it, let's do it, and we don't have bugs, security bugs in our system. OWASP top 10 is still a painful thing. Most hacking today is on the loss. And if we can put on the bottom of that a central logging, that everything what's happened we can see, then we have a great tool. So what is the major idea? I'm going to turn a little bit. What you see at the left side for you is that are our partners. They all want to connect, employees, contractors, partners. They all want to try to our data. They all want to use our applications. So what do we do at the right side? We give all our applications a trust level. We do a business impact analysis and we said, this application is a real critical one. We give it trust level 3. Every application on the other side that is less critical, mail, we give it a trust level 1. Even interfaces, human resources, by example, if you want to see your salary, we give it a trust level 2. If you are the human resource employee, you can see all the salaries, we give it trust level 3. Even behind everything that we have in other clouds, we put behind an EIP, a proxy. So meaning that every connection, that every person wants to connect to our data, pass through this thing. So what does it mean? If somebody logs on with a device, with a full protected PC, then we see that device as a trust level 3. When you come on with a device that we see that we don't know, it's your laptop, it's your cell phone, we give it a trust level 1. The rule set is quite easy. Do you go to an application, you have to go with a device at the same trust level or higher. So that's one of the first concepts that we have put in. So everybody can now bring his own device, whatever it likes, but if you want to go to our financial information, no, you have to take your full-blown protected PC. Another topic that we do, because we're using it, is We have DDoS, we have scalability, all in front of it. We have our user identification, we have content aware. So meaning that suddenly somebody is popping up during 3 hours at night, yeah, from China. Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah, we're going to activate multi-factor. And not because you are the CEO of our company that you have multi-factor. Yeah, because if you're then doing a small application like running scans in the stores, an article, a price lookup, it's a stupid application. Why do you have multi-factor? But if somebody is coming from China, then we know we have a vulnerability or it's a dubious connection. So then we're going to detect. Then we enable multi-factor. Yeah. If you want to go to our application, it's really to the cloud console, then we enable multi-factor. Yeah. We are integrated it furthermore with mobile device management. Yeah. So we also linked it to what we have our EDR Crowdstrike, meaning if you log on with a full protected PC of Carrefour, are we sure that it's full protected? Yeah. He gonna look in Crowdstrike and said, do you have seen this PC? What about his vulnerabilities? And he gives back a scale on 1 to 10. And we're gonna say it's above 7, you can go in. It's below 7, sorry, you're not updated, whatever reason it is. Yeah. That's what we're completely building. Yeah. So this is the complete new model that we are setting up. Yeah. That's the Google BeyondCorp. Yeah. It's not yet the version that you're going to see today because we're working with Google in the States to bring that multi-factor authentication at top level over there. Yeah. So this is what we're building. So further, voila. He will further explain into detail how we did it, set it up. Yeah. Please.
Is this working? Okay. Yeah. Everyone's hearing me. Thank you, Peter, for explaining the evolution in IT of Carrefour. Now, I will be talking about, I'm just going back to the previous slide. I'll be talking about how we actually approached this project. So first of all, what I would like to tell you is we're talking about actually 3 parties, but because we have different stakeholders, we were working with different parties, meaning we have 2 times Google in this slide. First of all, as Peter already explained, we have Google product management, meaning the ones in the US who are building the product. Here, we're working closely together with them to fully meet the requirements of Carrefour. On the other hand, we have another party, professional services. I don't know if everyone knows it here, but professional services is actually a more technical team who supports us in because it's a really new product. If we have questions or we're stuck in a certain setup, it's them who are going to support us. On the other hand, once we implement the solution, it's them who can also validate the solution. Then we have Carrefour, which is the client, and who will be the first biggest definitely in Europe, who will be using BeyondCorp. And then we have Devoteam G Cloud. It's us who are actually the glue between the different parties, who are the puller and the integrator of the product. Now, you might wonder, how do you actually start with such a project? We have a lot of different security requirements, but how do we actually translate them into different trust levels? Or how are we going to implement BeyondCorp itself? So what we did is actually what we do with most of our clients. We look at what is their vision. Why? Why do they want to use BeyondCorp, the zero trust model? So we started looking at their future vision, their strategy, what do they actually want to achieve. And as Peter already told us, they want to lower, in general, their maintenance costs, because we all want to protect the castle concept from the past. But as we're moving more and more towards cloud-based applications, we want to get rid of the VPN connection. On the other hand, they have the vision to have single sign-on enabled for most, if possible, for all of their applications, meaning they also want to move to one single identity provider. So how did we start actually the project itself. We had different workshops concerning device management, identity access management, and context-aware access policies. But we started with having 4 trust levels. In the beginning, we will not use the 4th one because it's still a feature that is not yet available. But we started with defining the trust level, and we were looking at, okay, first of all, we have 3 certain types where we want to differentiate in. First is devices. Devices, what do they actually want for the future? They want to allow their users to also bring their own device, bring your own device. Those are in trust level 1 and 2. Then we have in 3 and 4, it's a company managed device purely for highly sensitive applications and data. So the only difference in trust level 1 and 2 is we're talking about an unmanaged Chrome browser or a managed Chrome browser. Why bring your own device? You can allow, not all, for example, take frontline workers, they don't always have a corporate device. So, or if you look at contractors, they can bring their own device, but you're actually controlling them through managing the Chrome browser. Second thing we are differentiating on are the security attributes. If we look at trust level 1, we're talking about your own model, your own device, sorry. Chrome browser, totally unmanaged. The only thing we're actually asking for is to install a certain add-on that allows us to gather the information of that device. So the only thing we're doing there is endpoint verification. Trust level 2, we're talking about a managed Chrome browser, meaning people need to have their own device, but they log in into the Chrome browser, sorry, with on a protected profile actually. So they log in, there are Chrome connectors installed, and the policies are enforced. If we look at trust level 3, and there it really gets interesting. Peter also shortly mentioned it already. We have Crowdstrike, which is a type of EDR, and it actually gathers information from a device, which allows us to put a threshold and then allow people, whether it meets the threshold, then you can allow people to access a certain application. And this is where it gets interesting. Actually, BeyondCorp allows you to use third-party application data, to use it, to integrate it, and to actually assess whether someone is allowed to access that application. The 4th trust level is for highly sensitive applications. Imagine CFO, you want to access financial data. Well, there we have the Crowdstrike checks I just talked about. On the other hand, secondly, we have additional requirements from Carrefour that they want to check, and I'll get to that point later on to give you some examples. And thirdly, and this is what not yet exists at this point, is actually a conditional multi-factor re-authentication. So for now, I'll get to the details later on as well. But for now, it's not possible. It's an all or nothing show. It's for all applications, you enforce multi-factor or not. But we actually want to do it based on the context. And this is what we're closely working on with the US team of Google. What do we do then? We have the devices. We have different security requirements. We need to map those in those trust levels on applications. So if you see trust level 1, we're talking about Gmail, Google Calendar, that sort of applications. It's not highly sensitive. So we put them in trust level 1. If we look at the GCP or Workspace admin console, we don't want random people to mess around with it. So these are highly sensitive applications. We're putting those in trust level 4. Next, what do? We have actually those 4 trust levels defined. Now we're actually creating context-aware policies, but we can apply them or associate them based on the context of the application. So imagine we have here application alpha, and we look at Phil, which is in the IT section. We know, for example, that all the people in IT, they only work with corporate Windows devices, for example. Then the only possible way for Phil to access application alpha is by accessing it through the IP range of headquarters. So he needs to be there because we want to get rid of the VPN. He needs to be in the IP range of headquarters. And on the other hand, we have certain security requirements defined for if you are working on a Windows device. For example, they need to be on a Windows operating system, Chrome connectors need to be on, and that kind of requirements. On the other hand, if we look at someone from HR, and we know everyone of HR is working on a Chromebook, for example, they fall in a different context-aware policy, meaning it's called Corpo Chrome. They will only have access to the application if they are using Chrome operating system and if it's a corporate-owned device. So you can actually play around with different user groups in your company, define what the security requirements are, and then apply them based on the application. I was talking also earlier on about the different extra requirements, additional requirements of Carrefour. And what was I actually talking about? You can also differentiate or add security requirements based on IP range, so networks, geolocation. As Peter already said, we don't want to have someone at 3 o'clock logging in or accessing an application in China, for example. And other device policies we can also enforce are whether there is screen lock enforced, whether there is storage or disk encryption in general, and stuff like corporate-owned devices, which operating system, whether it's patched, yes or no, is it running on the latest version or one of the 2 latest versions of Windows, for example. Then now we're looking at the more future. What are we actually building to fully meet Carrefour's requirements? First of all, last week we had the confirmation that as of Q3, we will be able to already re-authenticate based on multi-factor authentication, based on session length you have in an application. That's already one step closer towards where we actually want to end. But where we actually want to go to is to have conditional multi-factor authentication or re-authentication. So we all know Google is already using a machine learning based user behavior risk analysis to assess whether someone is accessing or logging in to an application whether it's safe, yes or no, based on the context. What we actually want to achieve is now Google is actually controlling that. What we want to achieve is actually per application and per user group, Carrefour wants to be able to say, for example, they want to control they want to control what the criteria are. So now it's a general Google algorithm that is used, but actually we want to specify the criteria. For example, whether you are in or outside the EU, but we also, for certain user groups, imagine we have Carrefour, which is a retailer, and we have people in the shops that are accessing the same application as someone on headquarters. But maybe the data that someone on headquarters is accessing is more sensitive than specifically for the same application but a different user group, we want to enforce multi-factor authentication. As opposed to someone who's working in the shop, no offense, but it could be that those people are less tech savvy. We don't want to ask them every single time whether they are using a hand scanner or anything else. We don't want to ask them every single time to use the multi-factor authentication. So that is why we're working closely to make this possible, to enforce actually multi-factor authentication conditionally based on criteria set by the client. So I hope you all enjoyed this talk. If you have any further questions, there are a lot of G-clouders walking around, so don't hesitate to reach out or to ask more questions. On the other hand, I want to thank Peter for taking his time. We really appreciate you coming over and taking your time to talk about this. For the rest, I think we have a coffee break coming up, so I would like to say thank you and
Yes.
enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Is there just a question? 1, 2, 3 questions for Simon or Peter? Yes, I see a question over there. This is fancy, yeah? You can have a microphone in your hand.
Thank you. No, I was maybe wondering if you have those limitations. Let's say that someone travels to the US, can he then still use his own device to connect, and you put like conditional policies?
That's the idea, because with multi-factor authentication, you want to connect, for example, on your laptop, but you have, and sooner it will be available through a password or a Titan key, for example. Afterwards, they will also allow it or enable you to use the mobile prompt or the Authenticator app. So that's the idea behind it.
It's a little bit the behavior that we are looking at. It's not normal. We have a lot of high level who is moving around in Europe, but exceptionally nobody's going to another country outside of Europe. So if suddenly it can be one of our C levels connects from there, no problem, but it's a strange behavior, so that's where we activate at that moment the multi-factor, because then we are sure it's really him. Do we want to every time everybody running with keys in his pockets or multi-factor or GSMs and those kind of things? Why, it's too stupid in the store. Employees running around in the stores, they have sufficient things to do than pick up every time their smartphone and get an SMS. So that's the risk-based approach. We don't want to discuss it every risk security with the business. That's why we classify them, and we're just going to say, what do you want? Level 1, 2, 3, 4. Because otherwise we're going too much in details with the people of the business. That's the major idea. We classify them and we said, okay, these are the rules around a trust level. And it's up to you, business, to decide whether you classified it at 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.